Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Along with me at the Supernatural News Desk, Supernatural News Correspondent, Mr. Tim Dennis. Hello, Tim.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, I will forewarn you and the audience, it's hotter than hell in my house, so I have windows open because it's beautiful out.
Okay.
And so I'm in my studio with, we could hear dogs.
Okay.
You could hear you could hear gunfire.
Oh,
Tim.
gunfire.
You could hear screaming banshees and the opening of hell. I'm not sure.
Wait, gunfire? Where did you move to?
I'm just saying, Tim, you never know what could happen outside during a show. Because I could sit here in my room alone for hours without a sound.
Okay.
The minute I get on a phone call or start to record a show, all hell breaks loose. Five alarm fires, helium or hot air balloon crashes.
Did you move to 1910?
The zoo is right down the road from me. Animals could escape at any given time.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's a crazy world, Tim. So just be prepared.
We need to be prepared for a Zeppelin
off
crash.
A lion at any time during this show.
Okay. Zeppelin crashes and tiger escapes. Mm-hmm. Oh, my. Huh.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's a crazy part of town I live in. I don't know if I've told you that. And that's why I don't have you over much, Tim. It's dangerous.
I guess.
It's a danger zone.
Well, I'm just like walking meat over there, or I'm a target for a Zeppelin crash.
Kind of both.
If I come over.
Both. Yeah, it could happen at any time. You just never know.
I see.
Hey, let's start off real quick. Movie review time.
Yeah.
Movie review with Dave and Tim. It's a great promo opening. Way to go, Tim. Put that together.
I spent a lot of the budget, Dave. I
see that. Yeah. A lot of it right into that one. Yeah. All right, so movie review, the sequel or follow-up, I don't know. What's the official title for the new It movie? Is it a sequel or is it just the continuation?
I would say the continuation is a good one.
Yes. Yeah. The continuation and should be the finalization of the It. The conclusion of the It story. Huh?
That's it. That's a good one. Yes, conclusion. Yeah. The conclusion.
Let me start off by saying this. If you were, as I was, a fan of the book It and hated the original miniseries, which I did, if you recall, they end this, what started off as kind of a fun, at the time it's kitschy. It did not hold up well upon review. And it had a lot of stars of the time in it, this made-for-TV movie. Mm-hmm. And it was kitschy and fun for what it was. And then it ends with them just kicking the hell out of like a glowing spider. And it was really lame.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's it? That's it? Stephen King took a lot of flack for his book, his movie versions. As a matter of fact, people make comments constantly to him, I love your books, but hate the endings. He plays that well it's played well in this movie, even with a special cameo by Stephen King. Mm-hmm. But this is the second part of It, the story, and I love the first part. I thought they really did a great job of capturing that vibe, making it fun, and just the right amount of creepy. I'm not one of those that's terrified by clowns, so Pennywise does nothing for me other than its great special effects.
I would agree, yeah.
And it's cool. So he's not my, there were some other creepy effects in the first movie that I thought were better than Pennywise, but let's face it, a creepy clown with sharp teeth, is unnerving anyway.
Yes.
This one picks up 27 years later. And if you remember, they all made a pact if he comes back, if it comes back, they would all come back together. Well, it's 27 years later, and it looks like Pennywise is back. So I don't think I'm giving anything away with that. And the team returns and figure out a way to deal with this supernatural horror. And I thought it was good. It's a long movie. It's almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So you got to be prepared for it. But I thought it was good. I really thought, again, I know this is my standard statement, no matter how long the movie is, I honestly believe this one could have been pared down by about 20 minutes, and it would have been better.
I would agree with you there.
It languished in a few spots. It felt like they were, each one of them kind of have this holy crap moment on their own little quest.
Mm-hmm.
But then they go back and revisit, and then every one of them has another holy crap moment. And it just kind of felt like, all right, just get to the battle. Let's get to the end fight here. I want to see what's going on. So that's my only complaint with it. But overall, again, funny, well done. And the actors they chose for the adult versions, I thought were great. The only exception I have is that I really think they missed the boat, that it should have been Amy Adams that played Bev as an adult. Because that girl that played her in the first one, I thought looked exactly like a young Amy Adams. I have nothing wrong with the actress. What's her name? Jessica Chastain or something?
Yes, that's who it was. Yep.
I have nothing against her or her portrayal in it. Everybody else really kind of fit the look of the kid. I just felt Jessica Chastain did the role well. She just didn't look like a grown-up version. And, they were so good. At one point, they even actually have one of the kids' faces morph into the adult face.
Right.
Because that guy is so close, and it was really well handled. I liked it. I thought it misfired on a few small bits, but nothing major. Out of 5 stars, I'm going to go that I would give this 3 3/4 stars.
Okay.
You'd think, well, Dave, why not more? Just because of the length, and like I said, the kind of the languishing of about an extra 20 minutes they didn't need it wasn't a 5-star movie to me. It was a good 4-star movie, but because of the extra stuff, I just felt, pull it back a little bit and tighten it up, and it would have been 4 stars, 4.5 even maybe. But I'm going to go 3 3/4 stars for the follow up to it. I think it's a good follow up. It's what I wanted, and it's much better than the original.
I would agree on that too. And it may be sacrilege to Tim Curry fans to say that, because they're like, oh, no, he's Pennywise. But you know what? Bill Skarsgård is much better.
I love Tim Curry.
Yeah,
and
don't get me wrong.
Pennywise.
I do. I do too. But Bill Skarsgård, I think, is much better. And it's not because he's aided by CG or there's anything like that. It's just that he encapsulates something different for a different time. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is in this movie. And I'll leave that at that. He's a different Pennywise for a different time, and he encapsulates a different story, a more updated story. Now, with that being said, here's where the disconnect is for me in this, Dave, in that although I love Bill Hader in this movie too. I thought Bill Hader was really good. The comedian in the movie.
Right.
I think there's a bit of a disconnect, and James McAvoy was really good in it too. Bill, the author, and Jessica Chastain, kind of Bev, is a little bit of a disconnect with me. She was the one character that was a little bit of a disconnect, and I think you're right. If they would have put Amy Adams in that role, I think the entire cast would have solidified for me of the adults. I connected more with the kids than I did with the adults in this movie, but that's minor. I still connected with this cast, but with the adults, but I connected more with the kids because the kids knocked it out of the park. That was what the great part of part 1. In part 2, I didn't feel as much like I connected with the adults. I don't know why. It just to me, I didn't quite, rap with them. But with that being said, like you said, tighten it up a little bit. I thought maybe 10 or 15 minutes. If you cut about 10 or 15 minutes off that part of the film, that it would have been perfect. There's some quests in there that they didn't necessarily need to take. And otherwise, I thought it was an excellent film. In fact, I kind of enjoyed it a little bit more than the first one. And in that, you're gonna think I'm a little bit off here, Dave, but I actually gave it a 4 out of 5 because I really, really enjoyed it. I thought they wrapped it nicely. And believe it or not, in a world where I'm not really keen on the way some horror/thriller movies are written, there were some jump scares that actually got me in this, and they don't generally get me. So I went, hey, you know what? I really liked this movie. I really did. I liked it.
All right. So 3 3/4, 4 stars. I mean, that's a pretty. What'd you give it? 4, 4.5? What did you say?
I gave it 4. I gave it 4 out of 5. Yep.
Yeah, that's not bad. 3.5 or 3 3/4 to 4, right in that range. So it's a good flick overall. I think most people are going to really enjoy it. I don't want to revisit it again.
No, it's good for one show. This was the
quintessential version that we could just leave it alone after this.
Exactly. It's not something that I need to revisit or see again or anything like that. You know what? It was good for me for one viewing, and it's a lot of time to invest in one viewing. But it was a good place to visit for one big long block, and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. Well, that's it. Let's get started with some supernatural news. Where shall we begin this week, sir?
Well, Dave, I think money's always on everybody's mind, and I think there's a rap lyric like that, mind on my money and money on my mind. And we want to kind of turn our haunted dreams sometimes into money makers, don't we? Sure. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Well, a couple has turned their haunted dream home into a moneymaker. And why not? Why shouldn't you? Take that nightmare of a home and turn it into a little bit of cash. Sure. Aaron and Aaron Clark, the most ironic name I'll read all day today, thought they were living in a dream home after purchasing and renovating their 109-year-old house in Jefferson City, Missouri. But that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. In August 2017, they purchased the 5,000-square-foot historic home known as the Hobo Hill House. That doesn't sound like a good bed and breakfast. Listen to me. Bed and breakfast to me at 500 East Miller Street, and had restored it when weird, inexplicable things started to happen. We thought we were experiencing a lot of paranormal activity at the house, which, telling you, sounds silly, Aaron told the News Tribune. The TV, lights, space heaters, and kitchen sink would turn on by themselves. The family's pet pit bull would not go near certain areas like the stairs. And the couple heard frequent loud bangs, creaks, and voices saying hi as they entered the house. Well, it's a friendly ghost. I mean, why would you? Maybe that's good for the industry. But the most shocking incident involved the couple's 8-year-old daughter. The little girl started having nightmares and began sleepwalking. She was standing outside of her bed, staring out the window, and she was still crying, just sobbing. I could see her shoulders going up and down. And I was like, Raina, what's wrong? Are you okay? Are you okay? Aaron told KRGC-TV. And she turned around, and it scared the life out of me because it went from crying to this Cheshire Cat big smile, kind of like the Joker. Aaron described his daughter as wide-eyed and shaking and appearing possessed. Well, I think at that time, Dave, it's time to just give away the daughter and move.
What?
Yeah, you just give the kid away. I mean, you weren't really attached to her anyways, were you? I mean,
yeah, I am personally attached to my children.
Well, but, I mean, if they start grinning like the Joker, I mean, they're crying one minute and grinning. I mean, you can make more, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like cookies.
You can, but there's a lot more involved in it. And listen, if I got rid of my kids every time they were being creepy and weird, I would have no kids.
But then freedom, Dave, freedom to take vacations and see the world.
Tim,
and
freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
Wasn't that a Joni Mitchell?
No, how dare you?
I mean, Me
and My Bobby McGee by Janis the Joplin.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Never mind.
Yeah.
One other experience convinced the couple the house was haunted. The craziest thing besides my daughter, at least in my opinion, was both my wife and I, from the corner of our eyes, saw a tall man in a suit and top hat. What was the Monopoly guy?
Yes.
I mean,
Please proceed to go.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to be afraid of there? All of this was too much for the family, so they decided to leave just 7 months after moving in. But instead of selling the house, they've decided to turn it into a short-term rental on Airbnb. Of course, because why shouldn't everybody else experience the spookiness? I don't know why. We didn't think it would be right selling it to another family, knowing what we know, Aaron said. We'll just turn lemons into lemonade. And since the prison is so close and people Jeff are interested in that sort of thing, we'll just turn it into a short-term Airbnb and people can stay and have experiences, he went on to say. Oh, God, what a horrible idea. According to Aaron, though, the first group to rent the home couldn't stay the whole night. No doubt. While that may deter some, it certainly will attract many ghost hunters, and they're experiencing even more interest since the home was featured on the Travel Channel's The Dead Files on August 1st. The episode called Not My Child detailed the paranormal activity and revealed findings that the couple says confirms their suspicions. I was happy to know that we aren't crazy, Aaron added, that what we were feeling and experiencing was correct. Of course, but it costs people a certain amount per night, Dave, to find that out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's got to be a little something you pay.
Well, just slightly.
Just slightly. Hey, listen, kids, the Voices from Beyond voicemail is open and waiting for your calls. We want your soul. I mean, we want your story, Tim.
Oh.
So if you call in and leave us your story, we will have it trapped forever. We will have it for you that we can share with the rest of our listeners. So call our Voices from Beyond voicemail, 651-300-4977. Share your strange and unusual paranormal stories with us, just like this caller.
Hey guys, it's moi, Amanda, up here in northern Illinois. This time around, I'm going to share a few on-the-road ghostly encounters that I've had. The first one was I was probably about 9 years old, and I'm riding in the front seat, in the passenger seat, and my dad is driving. And we're going across I believe it was the Whitman Street Bridge there, and I'm looking out over the river, when all of a sudden, I started getting a weird feeling, goosebumps, and I see there's a front of a truck coming up alongside us. And it comes up, and I'm, looking out at the water. I'm seeing this truck coming up. And then instead of passing us, I get, looking straight across at the driver. And he scared me to death. It was an old guy with a white beard, mustache, and hat. And he was angry. His eyes, he was so full of rage and frustration, and his head was turned and he's staring at me, and both of his hands are clutching that steering wheel, but his head was turned looking straight at me. And he hated me is what I felt, and I didn't know why. And I was looking, I'm like, well, I was looking at the water. Maybe he thinks I was staring at him. I don't know. So I diverted my gaze, and he just stayed right there. He didn't go forward or fall back. He stayed right there. And I glanced over at him again, and his head was still pivoted sideways, looking straight at me. He wasn't looking at the road or anything. So I quickly looked down at my lap, and I don't know if I had said something or made a sound or something, but my dad said, what's wrong with you, girl? And I said, that man scared me. He's like, what man? And I kind of gestured towards my door, and I said, the one there in the truck. But I didn't want the man to know that I was gesturing towards him. And my dad goes, who? There's nobody there. And so I looked, and that truck and the man were gone. I looked. They weren't ahead of us. They weren't behind us. And then I realized, and that he was gone. The truck was gone. They looked solid, like they had been there, but they weren't. And then I realized there's not even a lane that he could have been driving in, because we were crossing a bridge and we were in the right lane. So there's that story. And the next one happened a few years later. I was probably 15, crazy teenager, and again, I'm riding shotgun, but this time my friend was driving, and the sun was thinking about shutting down for the night, but there was still plenty enough light to see clearly. We were cruising down a residential street, listening to music, full of youth and craziness, whatever, obnoxious teenage girls. And we're going down the street, and to the left, the road kind of dipped out like half of a cul-de-sac. And as we're coming up on that, I saw the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I started cracking up. I'm laughing, and I'm like, oh, that's it right there. Oh, check him out, girl. And my friend says, who? I'm like, that dude running, come on. An albino wearing all white, short shorts. Oh, look at them short shorts. He's got the socks pulled all the way up to his knees. Oh. And my friend is like, where? She's getting excited. You know, she can't see what I'm seeing. And, I mean, he stood out, and he's running fast. He's not jogging. He's sprinting across that cul-de-sac. And I'm like, oh, my God, he even has a white afro. Where? She's like, who? And we go past. And I'm like, oh, you friggin' missed it, girl. That is the craziest thing. And she whipped into a driveway, turned around, and went back. But he was gone. And he stood out. He was like almost glowing. White shoes, white socks pulled up to his knees, white short shorts, white tank top. He was completely white. Now looking back on it, I realized what it was that I saw. But at the time I didn't. I thought he was just a really cool dude being funny. Okay, now for this next story, I'm not going to say how old I was. I'm just going to say it was quite a few years later. And I'm cruising down the interstate. I'm a truck driver. So I go past this rest area regularly. On this particular day, it was packed with cars. They were lined up to get in. And I'm wondering, you know, what are they all, why is everybody there? What's going on? And there were people pulling lawn chairs out to the yard, getting in a position to look over across the highway. And as I'm wondering, you know, what are they there for? They're the fireworks later tonight, or is it going to be an air show? It was about noon. It was early in the day. And while I'm wondering about it, I started to get that feeling wash over me. Became hyper aware. Everything came into, you know, acute focus. I'm like, oh, here we go. What's going to happen? And then I saw him. And he was standing on the shoulder of the interstate, just past the rest area. He was all shades of gray and black. He wore an old-timey suit and a hat, and he was looking down at a pocket watch. And he had like a suitcase sitting on the ground next to his feet. Now, from his feet up to his knees were see-through, but everything else was solid. And as I passed, it's like everything went into slow motion. Everything slowed down. He's looking at his pocket watch. I couldn't see his face because of his hat. But as I came level with him, he slowly started to raise his head and look up. Well, I looked straight ahead. I'm a professional driver. Eyes on the road, safety first. I didn't want to see his face. And I never saw him again. So there's that one. And I've got one more to share with you. This last sighting happened. I had just gotten my CDL and hired on with the company. Since I was a new driver, I had to go do over-the-road training with a driver trainer whose name was John. At this time, he was the one driving. He was behind the wheel, and once again, I'm in the passenger seat. That's the hot spot, I guess. Well, we're driving along, then traffic comes to a halt. Ambulance goes by on the shoulder. Figure, okay, there's a wreck up ahead. We start inching forward. Eventually, we get up there, and the left lane closes at the scene, and so we're doing the inch and stop by it with traffic. A car was there on the left, kind of, not really shoulder, but its front end was smashed in. Apparently it hit the inner cement divider. There were 2 police cars and an ambulance parked there. The officers and paramedics were standing out there behind the ambulance talking. they're a little ways away from the car, and I was peeved and concerned because I was worried about the driver, and I was peeved that they're just standing there talking. And I said to John, my driver trainer, like, shouldn't someone be helping the driver? And John's like, oh, I'm sure they did. He's probably fine. And I was like, well, even if he says he's fine, he could still go into shock. He might have internal injuries or something. John's like, yeah, probably another ambulance took him already. And I'm like, what? That didn't make any sense to me. He goes, maybe the driver passengers went in another ambulance already. And I'm like, what? No, he's right there. He's sitting right there. Nobody's even there by him to help him. At least stand outside the window and talk to him or something. And John's like, what? And I'm like, he doesn't look too good either. You know, I'm telling him, he doesn't look good. He's sitting there with his head down. I don't think he's even conscious. And John turned white as a sheet. He's like, there's no one in the car. And then I turned white as a sheet. And we were both freaked out. I saw him, he didn't see him. But that's all for now. Keep doing what you're doing. I love you guys. Keep it up. Bye.
All right. Where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news, Timothy?
Well, Dave, let's take it to Hollyweird for a second. You know,
Hollyweird, Hollyweird.
Exactly.
As long as we recorded that, let's use it.
Let's use it as a sting from now on.
Of course.
I think we should. You know, one of the shows that premiered in August was Psychic Kids, the new version of Psychic Kids. Kind of disappointingly, our friend Chip Coffey wasn't on it, but one of his students, Perry Zarella, is on the show. And she's kind of the lead, I don't want to call her investigator, but she's kind of the lead psychic that's helping kids through their troubles on that show. And there was an article that came out by the New York Post that kind of featured Perry. And when Perry Zarella first appeared on A&E Psychic Kids as a teen in 2008, she was overwhelmed and scared, and now she's returning a decade later, and she's confident. Zarella went on to tell the New York Post, I was seeing my abilities as a curse. Zarella is now 25 and a Hudson Valley-based medium with an Ivy League degree who considers herself able to commune with spirits. And so I came on to Psychic Kids with the intention to meet people who could understand what I was navigating. Much like the 2014 film Boyhood, which documented its young subject as he grew up in real time, Psychic Kids gives the audience a chance to see Zarella as a 15-year-old and then check in on her progress a decade later. The reality show follows 5 adult mentors, including Zarella and Ryan Michaels, as they aid children coping with their sixth sense. It first ran between 2008 and 2010 before being revived this year, which airs Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. First time around, Zarella was seen struggling with her abilities, aided by adult mentor Kim Russo. Now in the revival, she's the mentor helping a new generation of psychic children. She says, I remember feeling very isolated and wanting to have a conversation with somebody going, I'm seeing and experiencing the same things as you. It's okay, says Zarella, who grew up in Red Hook, New York. After her first experience with the show, Zarella went on to get a master's degree in clinical psychology and education from Columbia University. She wasn't in touch with the show in the ensuing years, so it felt like kismet when Psychic Kids tapped her to appear again, she says. It was a time in my life where I was like, what am I going to do next? I want to help people. I'm trying to build this private practice, and I don't know how to find people who need help. And then later that night, I received a Facebook message from Psychic Kids, and they were like, do you want to help children with psychic abilities? And that's what I was hoping for. It kind of came perfectly, divinely timed. This season, Zarella traveled all over the country to help various kids, from Utah to New Jersey. In one episode, she mentors Kendall, a 9-year-old girl in Lower Burrell, Pennsylvania, whose paranormal abilities interfere with her life. She has nightmares and feels unsafe in her own home and unable to enter the basement. My biggest fear is if Kendall doesn't get a grip on this, it just ruins her, her mother says. Zarella combines psychological techniques that'll help Kendall meditate and face her fears with some New Age jargon. The quote here is, "I'm asking the energy, why are you here?" she advises. And by the end of the episode, the girl is able to go into the basement without panicking. Zarella, who also runs a private practice counseling people with reported psychic abilities, says they're still in touch. The quote is, "You get so connected working with them," she says. "I was texting with them just the other day and getting all the updates. It feels really important to continue being in these families' lives as a resource who can help them navigate these paranormal experiences." So there you go. Perry Zarella is now helping people in a psychic sense on Psychic Kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. You know, it's a good extension of it. I was wondering when they said they were bringing it back, I'm like, they're bringing back Ghost Hunters. They're bringing back Psychic Kids. I hear tell that there's that they may be returning with Paranormal State. And I was like, good God, why are we just revisiting? No, I'm very happy, of course, to see our friend Grant Wilson and Kristen Luman and everybody come back for Ghost Hunters and the new reboot and reimagining of the series. And it's really, really a good series.
Right.
Psychic Kids had me wondering, and then when I realized that it's the kids from the original series now coming back to do the helping, that's great.
I really enjoy both series. I've had a chance to watch now a couple of weeks of both series, and I really like the energy that Grant and his team have on Ghost Hunters, and I don't know why, call me an old softy, Dave, but I kind of tear up when I watch the psychics helping the kids, because it's one of those things where, you know, when you're a kid like that, and you're already kind of lost as a kid as it is, but when you start developing abilities like that and you don't know what to do with it and you don't have help, I mean, you're already lost as a kid, but you're more lost when you have those type of abilities and there's nobody to help, but then you have somebody who comes along to help you. That's just kind of touching to me. I don't know. Maybe I need to up my medication. Who knows?
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's those are great aspects of our humanity, the things that we can do and the things that we can change to show, compassion for one another. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
All for it. Hey, let me make a quick mention, if you don't mind so much, Timothy.
Sure.
We did, I don't want to say it different, but we did a much more personal True Crime Tuesday this past week. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to let people know that the episode that we did was on the case regarding my friend Debbie Evans that was murdered along with two of her children back in 1995. We've talked about it on and off over the last 8 or 9 years on this program, and I've released little bits here and there regarding the story. This was the first time we dug deep into the case, and it was a very emotional episode, a very emotional show, but in a way kind of cathartic for me to address the whole story top to tail. So I hope our listeners, if you have not yet subscribed to True Crime Tuesday, if you're interested, this might be a really great jumping off point. Listen, it's $5 a month to subscribe, and you get 4 brand new episodes every month. Plus you get access to the last 2 years worth of episodes. So there's a lot of episodes on there. I think we're closing in on around 200 episodes. So give it a try, give it a listen. I think you guys are going to like it. There's a lot of great stuff that we put together for people. And, not only do we do some of the most strange and unusual true crimes, we also, in a lot of the episodes, lighten it up with some dumb crimes, stupid criminals, and report on the most bizarre and unusual idiots from around the world, mostly Florida, Tim. Yeah. But that's what's going on. Speaking of Florida, our thoughts and prayers are with the people of the Bahamas and Florida, Georgia, and the other states that are affected by this. Is it a tropical storm? Is it a hurricane?
Oh, no, it's a hurricane. Yeah.
Okay. I keep hearing them kind of vacillate on this Dorian. Just know that our, and I know people hate when we say this, our thoughts and prayers are with you. They truly are. There's not much more we can offer, but just that, we're praying and thinking of all of our friends and listeners across the world that are impacted and affected by this. We hope and pray that you're safe and that your loved ones are safe as well. All right, Tim, where should we go next?
We're going to haunted Yorkshire, Dave.
Yorkshire, you say?
I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I'm interrupting you. I don't mean to.
I like their pudding.
I do, too. It's quite tasty. Yeah. quite tasty. Nick Tyler is a writer with the interest in the paranormal. The interest in the paranormal, Dave. I can't stop stuttering. And has just published a book called Haunted Yorkshire, a collection of the county's ghost stories, legends, and history, including in Craven, a perfect read for a dark winter's night. Mr. Tyler, who lives in, I believe it's Worksup, says for years people have been obsessed with stories of the supernatural, tales of ghostly goings-on, and things that go bump in the night. He says, we watch, read, and recount terrifying stories of the undead for our excitement and enjoyment, and millions of us claim to have experienced paranormal encounters that we firmly believe to have been real. He says that in the preface to his book. And he says it is reasonable to assume that if the afterlife does exist, Yorkshire would almost certainly be home to numerous ghost entities and demons. He says a county laced with so much history would surely be able to leave an imprint on the fabric of time. In his travels, he researched and spoke to people in Craven, discovering stories and hauntings in Wigglesworth, Settle, and in Malham. Wigglesworth, Dave. Can you imagine such a nice name as ghosts?
They have such absolutely bonkers names like Wigglesworth and Bunkerstool, and I honestly think it was a bunch of drunkards just combining words that make no sense to one another.
Careful, you're getting in Jesse Ventura territory right now.
Banana Potshire. I don't think they're making much sense in the naming of their towns and villages out there, Tim.
Now, when I say Jesse Ventura territory,
I know
years
he was
ago,
making fun of our streets in
right,
St. Paul.
St. Paul,
it was a bunch of drunk Irishmen putting them together.
Yeah, so
he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. That's all I can say.
Oh no! Come on now.
Tim, I'm Irish. I'm allowed to admit my people are drunkards.
Okay. All right then. He went on to say, "I write not to change your point of view or perspective, but simply to pass on these accounts, allowing to you to make up your own mind. The B6478 between Wigglesworth and Tosside Beck's Brow."
Okay. Wait.
Okay. What?
More proof. Read the two towns that it's between.
Wigglesworth and Tosside Beck's Brow? Is that
Tosside Beck's Brow.
Okay.
See, they're just putting together any insane combination of words. Well, what you'll have to do is go down the I-55 and take just a turn past Blue Cap Woodstick Road, where you'll then find Snuggle Bottom Cushion Butts, which is about 4 knots past old Cortisone 10 Cup Mug Shop.
Cortisone 10. I actually took some of that this morning for.
And it's stuff on my desk here.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
So it's okay. It's handy stuff.
Their town names are insane.
It works really well. So yeah, I
enjoyed the squire or the village of Farting Bottom though.
Oh, the village of Farting Bottom. Yeah. I have a summer home there.
Oh, dear Dave and Tim, you can kiss my shiny ass. How dare you pick on the towns right here in our beautiful country. We reading about England or Ireland? Now I'm confused.
England, but I love the Irish accent. Go ahead. You just...
Yeah, David and Timothy, your butchering of our religious and real names is distraughting me. I got nothing.
Distraughting me. Oh, Commander!
Oh, good golly. Miss Mom. All right.
We only have like 3 impressions of the entire, entire.
Have you heard my demon impression, Tim? I've been told it sounds a lot like Rolf the dog.
No.
Did you see the picture I sent you? One of our
I did,
awesome listeners drew a picture of Zozo
funny.
The demon, which was basically Rolf the dog with horns.
It's very funny. It's
ridiculous.
I laugh.
I have such a range in voices. You people piss me off.
Well,
here's Zozo the demon.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Zozo the demon. Here's Rolf the dog. Hi, I'm Rolf the dog. Totally different, Tim.
They are. They're completely
one is
different.
named Zozo. Yep. The other one is Rolf. They don't even sound similar.
They're not.
Here, do you want to hear Pazuzu from The Exorcist?
Yes, let's hear it.
Hey, I'm Pazuzu from The Exorcist.
Can't even tell.
No, it's a totally different voice.
It is.
The intonation, the subtle hint of Lancashire accent that I put on Pazuzu.
I love
Tim.
It. Yeah. It's artistry at its best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Is there more to this story? I feel like
there is.
Derailed. Sorry.
Well, a little bit, but that's okay. We were talking about Farting Bottoms and Tosside Beck's Brow and Wigglesworth and Snaggletooth.
Sounds like dancer names in college, Tim. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I did dance under Wigglesworth for a while. That's how I made
Please welcome to the stage of the 4 Mile Wigglesworth.
Everybody dance now.
That sounds a lot like Rolf the dog to me.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Sorry. So the B6478 between Wigglesworth and Tosside Bexborough, I'm going to be told I said that wrong too, has been the unfortunate location of fatalities across the years, he says, but it might not just be a combination of speed and driving conditions, but the appearance of a white lady. White lady! It is said he has discovered that the full-bodied apparition materializes along the stretch of road, particularly on dark and damp nights when you could go off the road, Dave. The white lady...
One thing worse than dark and damp, Tim.
No, well...
Yep, that's moist and midnight.
That was another one of my nicknames when I danced at the 4 Mile.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for moist midnight.
Everybody dance now! Anyways, the white lady, he says, is believed to be the lost soul of a 21-year-old woman who was tragically killed in a car accident on the stretch of road in the late 1970s, along with her boyfriend. Those who have seen her say she appears walking on the side of the road or standing still on the grass verge, looking around apparently for her boyfriend. News to you, sweetheart, he ain't coming back. Just saying.
Wow, Captain Feelgood.
Well, I'm just trying to break the news to her. Could do it as Dr. Phil, but, In his search for people who had seen the white lady, Mr. Tyler came across Michael Bell, not his real name, by the way, who was on his way home to Tosside when he claims to have seen the apparition. It was a dark and wet night. That's the name you danced under, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
Dark and wet night, yes.
Yeah. I believe you wore a Batman costume, but only half of it. And he pulled over and offered the woman a lift, but she had vanished. He carried on and saw her again, this time sprinting at the side of the road before shooting out into the road and in front of his car. Michael careened off of the road and into a tree, suffering a broken leg and severe bruising. Mr. Tyler compares Michael's account to like something straight out of a horror movie, and if true, the most violent account he had encountered. Given the injuries he sustained, Michael was found to be nearly 4 times the drunk driving limit, but was convinced of what he saw. The Green Lady of Settle, which I dated in college as well, is the story of a pub landlord, his passion for prize pigs, and his jealous wife. Oh, this sounds interesting. The story goes that the wife prepared her husband a special anniversary dinner, but he was late, so she covered it in rat poison and fed it to the pigs.
What?
Yeah, nice lady. While they lay on the ground dying, she stabbed them with a pitchfork just to make sure. Oh, she sounds like a prize. The husband, who had been drinking all afternoon, heard the commotion, ran home, grabbed the pitchfork out of his wife's hands, and thrust it into her stomach. Boy, this couple just gets loving couple of the year, don't they? As she lay dying, a Great Zeppelin album, she told him she was pregnant with their first child.
No.
Yep, bad mistake. The landlord dumped her body in the river before returning to drink with his friends because the man has no soul, and provided him with an alibi. To this day, says Mr. Tyler in his book, people hear ghostly sounds of squealing pigs and sightings of a woman dripping with water and green skin.
Everybody, help! Everybody, help!
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at that, honey. I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face. It is commonly believed a sighting of the Green Lady will mean the death of a family pet. Oh, boy.
Help!
Janet's Foss, Malum, gets its name from a folktale that claims the waterfall is home to Janet, Queen of the Fairies, says Mr. Tyler, who has uncovered tales from people who claim to have encountered something different. A malevolent entity that feeds off the life force or aura of anyone unfortunate enough to get close to it. Often described as appearing as a green mist floating out of the water, this rare phenomenon is thought to be that of a wraith, he writes. Yorkshire Ghost Stories is published by the History Press and costs all of £12 if you can scrounge that out of your mangy pockets. There you go.
Interesting stuff, man.
Yeah.
Weird.
Very.
Weird, interesting stuff. Speaking of, I've got an email here, Tim.
Oh, okay.
This is the stuff of nightmares. Tim.
Okay, yes.
After Beth. Wisteria writes in, she goes, this is happening to a mortician friend who saw this several times. There were ghostly figures coming out of bodies he worked on. He was working on a particular body one day when he saw a form leave. Therefore, thought the spirit was out and on its way to the other side. He had seen this before, so he kept working on this particular body, and it happened again, this time a full apparition. So he flew out of the lab and asked one of the others to finish. It worked him up emotionally. The second aspect, the second part of the story, my son was in the medical field for a while working at a nursing home. One day, after an elderly lady had crossed over, my son had to wash her body before putting her in the bag for the hearse to pick her up. When he was done washing, he said he saw a form rise right out of the body. At the same time, the room filled with a special feeling of peace and love that he said he would never forget. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Very strange. Yeah, I wonder how many people have seen that morticians. I talked to Caitlin Doughty earlier this week on Midnight in the Desert. Mm-hmm. Who's a mortician and had a lot of strange things she was sharing with us. But she just, not that she's against the paranormal, it's not that she doesn't believe in it. She just has never had that experience.
I can't believe working with all those dead bodies, you never have one incident.
I don't know. Maybe it's because that's your calling and it's something you just couldn't let affect you, so you don't notice it.
Or you just put the blinders on and go to work. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just don't even notice it. Very weird. All right. Thank you, Wisteria, for sharing that. Where are we off to next, Supernatural News Boy?
Well, you can spend the night, Dave, at Britain's most haunted prison for a ghost hunt. You too can do this. The sleepover features Ouija boards and vigils. Because why wouldn't you want to open the seventh portal to hell in a prison? I don't know. You can now officially spend the night at Britain's most haunted prison if you're brave enough. Shepton Mallet Prison in Somerset is currently selling tickets for sleepovers, a perfect getaway for fans of the paranormal and all things slightly spooky. The prison is home to unmarked graves of executed prisoners. Oh boy. And was host to notorious London gangsters Reggie and Ronnie Cray in the early 50s. Throughout the tour, visitors can expect to see and hear many terrifying things, giving an insight into the venue's barbaric past. Guided by staff, visitors will work in small groups to take part in experiments to make contact with whoever or whatever still walks through these prison corridors. That's in quotes. The official event description reads, "Your ghost hunt at Shepton Mallet will be nothing but intense. So those of you expecting a nice, easy walk through the prison can just stay home." With the overriding emotions here being that of sheer survival, basic instincts, not that basic instinct, if you know what I mean, and challenging behaviors, it makes sense that these emotions are still entrenched within the fabric of the building. Among the experiments are Ouija boards, table tipping, glass moving, and vigils using ghost hunting equipment. The sleepover events also involve staying over in some of the scariest locations in the prison. Prices vary depending on the type of ghost hunt you wish to partake in. And if you want to, call forward Satan, there's that deal. You can get more information by going to hauntedhappenings.co.uk.
Listen, I want to address our listeners about something really important, Tim.
Okay.
We talk about our sleeplessness, anxieties, depression that we both deal with. And like many people, I've tried to find aid where I have not been able to.
Sure.
I've gone for many different medicines and pills, and nothing works right. Everything leaves me feeling like a zombie, exhausted all the time, deep down, painful exhaustion. And I just don't ever feel that kind of refreshed sense. That is until I found Feels. So if you experience stress or have anxiety, folks, or chronic pain like Tim, or maybe trouble sleeping at least once a week, Tim and I can assure you, you're not alone. Many of us do. As I've told you, I have many different things going on, and as many of you have shared with me over the last few weeks, with the loss of our baby and our plans to move to a new home, juggling finances, work, the coming TV show. I have a lot on my plate, and my anxiety could have been right through the roof. I was desperate. I needed to try something, anything that would help. And that's when I discovered Feels, Feals. Well, what is Feels? Feels is a premium CBD that's delivered directly to your doorstep. And here's what they can do. Feels is naturally a good way to help reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. I can tell you there's been a huge difference in my life. I don't know in the regular day-to-day leanings if I would have been doing as well as I am right now if I wasn't on Feels, Tim. And I honestly believe that. Mm-hmm. I feel that it's helped even me out. It's given me a clearer perspective. It's really worked for me. And I'm not just saying this lightly, folks. I want you to know that this is something that can help you, at least in my estimation. It's helped me extraordinarily. And I'd like for you to try it for yourself because you're worth something. And many of you are overwhelmed, overtired, and underappreciated. And I think Feels will be the answer for you. It naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. You just take a few drops of Feels under your tongue, and then you feel the difference within minutes. And I do. I mean, there are times that, I've got medication that I've taken for my anxiety, Tim, and you're supposed to take it on the onset. Well, sometimes the onset comes on like a wave, man, and it hits. And then it takes hours to get into your system and start working. I was dealing with a couple issues last week, as you know, going through a lot of this, took a couple drops of Feels, and it evened me out very quickly. After doing the show the other day on True Crime Tuesday, for those of you that listened, I ended the show on a very emotional note. As a matter of fact, Tim and I didn't even speak off air afterwards. When I said goodbye, I disconnected. That was it, and spent a little time gathering myself, crying, and just getting through that. And I felt that anxiety coming up. I took a couple drops of Feels, and it put me right back on my heels and put me feeling right. So I can tell you this is a real human experience for me. And if you're new to CBD, Feels offers a free CBD hotline and text message support so they can actually help you guide through your personal experience. Feels works naturally to help you feel better. So there's no high, there's no hangover, and you don't have any addiction issues with it. And you can join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel at any time. Feels has me feeling my best every day, and it can help you too. So become a member today by going to feels.com/darkness. That's FEALS.com/darkness. You'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's Feals, FEALS.com/darkness to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feals.com/darkness. And do us a favor, folks, support the advertisers that support your hosts and the show. And I've told you in the past, and Tim and I stand by this firmly, we only allow advertisers on this program that we feel can make a difference and offer high-quality products and items that can make your life better. And there are many of you suffering out there, many of you dealing with this, and I know there's an answer. So please check it out for yourself. FEALS.com/darkness. Use that so that they can track that you heard about it through this program. And by putting your orders in and placing it that way, they can track to see how many people we're able to help with our program. Let's tune in, and get yourself the help you need. Feals.com/darkness. FEALS. Pluto TV is the leading free streaming television service. We've been talking about it for a couple of years. I love it. Pluto TV is the leading free streaming television service in our home. We can watch over 100 TV channels. There's thousands of movies on demand. They're all for free. So maybe you don't want to give your credit card and sign up online or over the phone. You don't have to. No credit card needed. There's no sign up involved. Pluto TV is easy and a completely legal way to watch your favorite TV shows and hit movies. What are you waiting for? Never pay for TV again. Download Pluto TV for free on all of your favorite devices today. All right, Tim, where are we going next?
Well, Dave, we go back over the pond where Myra Hindley's ghost hunters claim that a Moors victim family has seen a killer's spirit. The pair deny that the documentary is a publicity stunt and say that they have given permission for the victim's relatives. Two self-proclaimed paranormal investigators have revealed exclusively to Daily Star Online that they have spoken to a relative of the Moors murderous victims who say that she is haunted by the ghost of Myra Hindley. Lindsay Sheeran and Lee Steer claim they spoke to the relative after she reached out to them in person. Yesterday, Daily Star Online revealed the pair were planning an investigation into the ghost of Moors murderer Myra Hindley. After the backlash, Lindsay said she and Lee wanted to clarify what she and her team had set out to do. We're not here to investigate the children's ghost, Lee said. All we're here to do is help this family clear the negative energy from their lives. Lindsay added that the relative claimed she had seen Hindley's physical ghost and said the killer's spirit was haunting her and her family, including her children. The pair said that they had been to the moors where the bodies of Pauline Reed, John Kilbride, Leslie Ann Downey, and Edward Evans were found. Keith Bennett's body had never been found after vile killers Hindley and her boyfriend Ian Brady both went to their graves without revealing where he was buried. Lindsay and Lee also said they went to places connected with the life of the Moors victim. When I was on the moors, I had to walk away. I was so emotional, Lindsay said. It felt as though we were reliving the murders. Lee said, we want to make it clear this is not a publicity stunt. We're going to prove people wrong when we do the live stream on Tuesday night. The pair run several paranormal investigations Facebook pages, including Project Reveal, Ghosts of Britain, which has more than 123,000 likes. On Thursday night, the pair sparked outrage after they revealed their investigation on Facebook, which many people slammed as insensitive. Myra was the most horrific person in the world, Lindsay said, and slammed the group's critics, adding, people are so quick to judge. This relative reached out to us. She wanted to put the video out on Facebook. She knows she can trust us. In a statement, one of Lindsay and Lee's colleagues, Kenny Saw, told Daily Star Online, the lady contacted us calling out for help, not only for her, but for her 14-year-old son, who is being affected in the worst possible way, and her 6-year-old daughter, who is also being affected pretty badly. Kenny went on, I will not refuse this family help because other people don't understand what is going on, and any paranormal investigator who does refuse is not a paranormal investigator. After speaking to the woman last Sunday, the pair say they will do a live stream with the woman on Tuesday night, where the relative will reveal more about her family's alleged haunting by Hindley. The pair said they visit every UK haunted location, but also denied that they would be holding a seance with Hindley's ghost.
Very weird. How do you feel about that? I mean, obviously they're not going after the victim. Right. You know, the victims. They're going after the killer ghost. Does that rub you wrong? I mean, Ghost Adventures is doing a 4-part series in Ghostober here about serial killer ghosts. Where do you stand on this?
You know, I have a little bit of a mixed emotion about that. I know our friend Chris Fleming before has claimed to have channeled serial killer ghosts too. Here's my thing. You know, how dark do you want to get? Because my thing is one, are you really contacting what you say you're contacting? I think from a skeptical point of view, you could say, are you really getting in touch with what you think you're getting in touch with, one? And two, if you really are getting to that depth, are you dredging up something that maybe surviving, the people who are surviving that case really want to relive? Well, you know, is it appropriate, one? And two, are you bringing up things that maybe are unsolved that we need to solve? You know, that maybe there's a benefit to doing what you're doing. And three, what interest is it to bring it up? Are you bringing it up just for hyperbole? Are you bringing it up for ratings? Or is there really something beneficial to what you're doing? You really have to ask those questions. Is this just a publicity stunt, so you're bringing attention to what you're doing, or does it have some sort of usefulness? Right. You know, if there's some usefulness to it, I guess, you know, you have to weigh, is there more harm than good being done here? If there's some good to it, then, you know, I can see it being done. Sure.
You have to wonder too, though, if you start giving it power,
right?
Does that start energizing that spirit and give it more attention? I don't know.
Well, you bring up a good point, because at that point, and it depends on how many eyes are put upon it too. You know, does that give it more power? The more eyes you put upon it, the more attention you put on it is attention intention. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you put more eyes upon that spirit, does that spirit grow in power?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's strange. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. I guess everybody's always looking for a new angle on where to take this. Yeah, just you have to be careful, especially when there are children and children's stories involved. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to discuss, more supernatural stories, plus your calls when we return to Beyond the Darkness. Holy cow, Tim. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it yet with the long weekend that we just came off of, but Carnival Row has got to be hands down one of my new favorite shows. Did you get a chance to see it this weekend?
I have, yeah. I've been peeking in on it. It's a nice series. It really is.
Yeah, Carnival Row, for those of you that don't know, is a 1-hour fantasy drama that stars Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne. The series itself, it's set in this I don't know, like this Victorian fantasy world, and it's filled with mythological immigrant creatures, and they have these exotic homelands that were invaded by the empires of the evil man, Tim. We've invaded their empires and have taken them over. This show blew me away from the first frame to the last frame. I purged through this entire series with my wife. We loved it. I can't wait for second season to come out on this. It is so beautifully shot. The acting is intense and fantastic. The special effects in this are awesome. I mean, it's a standout series. If you love these type of fantasy, crime, you know, sci-fi vibe shows, you're going to absolutely love this. I think anybody that tunes into this, and so far we've got some great feedback from listeners. When I posted about it last week online, encouraging people to check it out, people popped in, absolutely loved it. In this series, these different groups are trying to coexist with humans. They're forbidden to live, to be in love, or even kind of fly with freedom for the fairy realm. Orlando Bloom plays a character by the name of Rycroft Philostrate, also known as Philo, and he's a police inspector that's been investigating this string of really horrific murders that's kind of unsettling the easy peace that's been going on the row. And then Cara Delevingne, she plays a character by the name of Vignette Stonemoss, which is this, first of all, striking fairy refugee who flees her war-torn homeland to come to the Burg. And then she has to contend not only with this really horrible prejudice towards her kind, but she has secrets that have followed her to this new land. It's really a great dynamic, a cool twist. But even in the darkness, hope does live as this human detective and fairy rekindle their love affair despite this increasingly intolerant society. It's available now to watch. Carnival Row, only on Amazon Prime Video. It's time to turn it up with your new favorite podcast, Expeditiously with T.I., here right on Podcast One. Join the rapper, entrepreneur, family man, and activist as he bridges the gap and sheds light on important social topics and much more in an authentic, eyebrow-raising dialogue that might make you want to pull out your dictionary. Download new episodes of Expeditiously with T.I. every week on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
Beyond the darkness.
All right, Tim,
Yeah.
We got a lot of supernatural news to cover and a short time to get there. Come on now, let's watch old Bandit run. Where are we going next, sir?
It turns out that NASA astronaut Michael Collins has dropped a major alien confession, Dave. He says, he says yes to life outside of Earth. He says yes, Dave. He's voted. I didn't know there was a major vote that was put out there, but he said yes. NASA astronaut Michael Collins, who flew the command module on Apollo 11 in 1969, has just confirmed his belief in alien life outside of Earth. The NASA veteran played a critical role in the first manned moon landing alongside colleagues Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. After retiring from NASA in 1970, the astronaut has been a vocal supporter of establishing a human presence on Mars. Now, the 88-year-old Michael Collins has opened up about the ultimate question of, are we alone in the universe? In an online question and answer session on Twitter, Mr. Collins' 56,600 Twitter followers were given a chance to submit any burning queries that they had. One Twitter follower asked the astronaut if he believes in life outside of Earth under the hashtag Ask Michael Collins. In a blunt but revealing answer, Mr. Collins simply said yes. The answer excited a storm of tweets from followers who are similarly convinced that extraterrestrial life has evolved on some alien planet far from Earth. Twitter user Gulshan Kumar said, probably, but no evidence. Fernando Leon said, I believe, too, there is no evidence to support my belief. Angela Burns said, yes, definitely. It would be crazy not to and very scary. And Betty Kozat said, given the literally billions of planets where life might be, yes is the only possible answer. But has life evolved into a species that has developed interstellar travel? Probably, but no definitive answer yet. However, the next big question is whether life outside of Earth has developed enough to form intelligent civilizations. NASA scientists believe the planet Mars may hold evidence of past microbial life, but not developed species. In other cosmic queries regarding his time in space, Mr. Collins was asked about eating bacon in space, his favorite moments from Apollo 11, and yeah, I know
that is the big question. So tell me about what bacon tastes like in outer space.
It's still delicious. His favorite.
Is it true you had to drink your own wee-wee?
Only when mixed with Tang.
That's right. It's tangy.
Well, it is tangy that way. His favorite moments from Apollo 11, he was asked about that, and why he grew a mustache during the moon landing, to make it seem more skeevy, evidently. In regards to enjoying the bacon, the astronaut said, no, bacon should not be cubed. God. Mr. Collins is a former American test pilot who served in the United States Air Force before joining NASA. As a test pilot, Mr. Collins has logged more than 4,200 hours in flight. Through his work in the United States Air Force, Mr. Collins retired with the rank of Major General. In July of 1969, the astronaut flew the command module spacecraft around the moon, while astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin descended to the surface for the first time in history. NASA said after he graduated from the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, New York, in 1952, he chose to become an Air Force test pilot. Selected by NASA as an astronaut in 1963, he served as the pilot for Gemini 10 and as the command module pilot for the Apollo 11 mission, the first time humans set foot on another celestial body. Collins retired from the Air Force as a Major General and left NASA in 1970. Although there has been no evidence to date to extraterrestrial life in space, scientists are hopeful. NASA said the rover Curiosity has firmly determined that ancient Mars was significantly more wet and warm and was an entirely habitable place for microbial life. All the ingredients needed for life as we know it, the proper chemicals, a consistent source of energy, and water that was likely present and stable on the surface for millions of years were clearly present. Did microbial life then begin? If so, did it evolve? Those questions remain unanswered, but this much is known. If a second genesis occurred on Mars, then the likelihood increases substantially that many other forms of life exist on those billions of exoplanets and exomoons now known to orbit distant stars and planets. So there you go.
Well, since we're already in outer space, Tim, the dark side of the moon, we now know why it's dark, Tim, because there's icky, sticky things over there.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with that?
With the dark side of the moon?
Yeah, the article that you have about
China's lunar rover?
Yeah, what did they find out there, Tim? What's going on?
Well, China's Chang'e 4 lunar rover, which also sounds like something I shouldn't be saying, but I am, has discovered an unusually colored gel-like substance during its exploration activities on the far side of the moon. The mission's rover U-22, no, I'm not making it up, folks. I know it sounds like I'm doing a really bad stereotypical deal here, but I'm not. Stumbled on that surprise during Lunar Day 8. The discovery prompted scientists on the mission to postpone other driving plans for the rover and instead focus its instruments on trying to figure out what the strange material is. Day 8 started on July 25th. U-22, which is not a new droid in the Star Wars movie, number 9, began navigating a path.
I thought it was just a sequel to the band U2.
Oh, that would be an awesome sequel, wouldn't it? If it were their kids.
All of the kids of U2.
They'd be
now in their own band, U22.
U22? Oh, that'd be the cutest thing ever. Except they sang like really like vapid pop. It's hard to say, vapid pop.
I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth.
That would be a hit. Think about that.
Well, it was a hit by Willow Smith.
Yeah. Too bad that U22 didn't do a version. The U-22 began navigating a path through an area.
And I whip my hair back and forth. Huh?
I like it. Just a slower version, but then.
I whip my hair back and forth.
But that same, the Edge just has that same guitar riff, that ding a 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 ding a, that thing, but just that over and over again. That thing. Anyways, U-22 began navigating a path through an area littered with various small impact craters with the help and planning of drivers at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, according to a U-22 Drive Diary. That's the name of the new album, Dave, Drive Diary.
This is a song that Charles Manson stole from the Beatles, and our fathers stole back, and now we're stealing it yet again. Huh?
I like it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Helter Skelter is kind of a rave version.
Right. See?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I've lost. Okay, let's go. This is a serious story.
Right.
Okay,
right,
so
okay.
Chinese moon rover, dark side of the moon.
Right.
What happened?
So with the help and planning of drivers at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, according to a U-22 Drive Diary published on August 17th by the government-sanctioned Chinese language publication Our Space, which focuses on space and science communication. That's what that came up. On July 28th, the Chang'e 4 team was preparing to power U-22 down from its usual midday nap to protect the rover from high temperatures and radiation from the sun high in the sky. A team member checking images from the rover's main camera spotted a small crater that seemed to contain material with a color and luster unlike that of the surrounding lunar surface. The drive team, excited by the discovery, called in their lunar scientists. Together, the teams decided to postpone U-22's plans to continue west and instead ordered the rover to check out the strange material. With the help of the obstacle avoidance cameras, U-22 carefully approached the crater and then targeted the unusually colored material and its surroundings. The rover examined both areas with its visible and near-infrared spectrometer, which detects light that is scattered and reflected off materials to reveal their makeup. VNIS is the same instrument that detected tantalizing evidence of material originating from the lunar mantle in the regolith of Von Karman crater, a discovery Chinese scientists announced in May. So far, mission scientists haven't offered any indication as to the nature of the colored substance and have said only that it is gel-like and has an unusual color. One possible explanation outside researchers suggested is that the substance is melt glass created from meteorites striking the surface of the moon. U-22's discovery isn't scientists' first lunar surprise, however. Apollo 17 astronaut and geologist Harrison Schmitt discovered orange-colored soil near the mission's Taurus Littrow landing site in 1972, prompting excitement from both Schmidt and his moonwalk colleague, Gene Cernan. Lunar geologists eventually concluded that the orange soil was created during an explosive volcanic eruption 3.64 billion years ago. Chang'e 4 launched in early December 2018 and made the first ever soft landing on the far side of the moon on January 3rd. The U-22 rover had covered a total of 890 feet or 271 meters by the end of Lunar Day 8. The Chang'e 4 lander and U-22 rover powered down for the end of Lunar Day 8 on August 7th and began their 9th lunar day over the weekend. The U-22 rover woke up at 8:42 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on August 23rd, and the lander followed the next day at 8:10 p.m. During Lunar Day 9, U-22 will continue its journey west, take a precautionary 6-day nap. Boy, I'd like to have a 6-day nap, I tell you. Around local noontime and power down for a 9th lunar night around September 5th, about 24 hours ahead of local sunset. So there you go. Finding gel on the moon.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Because, I was talking to somebody, I can't remember who, but they were mentioning, they're like, this doesn't seem right. Something gelatinous should not exist in the vacuum of space.
Especially with that cold a temperature up there.
Yeah.
But to say that it's glass, to automatically assume that it's gelatinous glass is kind of quick to judge. I mean,
we just call that gelatinous.
Gelatinous, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also going to be my space name when I eventually become an eater of worlds, so that I don't run into some sort of Marvel trademark with Galactus. I'll just be Glass Dick, whatever we say.
What? Glass Dick?
I guess. I don't know. I don't want to...
Yeah. All right, Shattered Boy. Hey, we've got phone calls to get to. We've got another caller. Can you believe it, Tim? Somebody actually listened to us, and they called our voices from beyond voicemail.
I don't believe it.
This is their story.
Hey, Dave and Tim. It's Jesus again out of Austin, Texas. Had called in and sent you a couple of emails about my son, my experience, and my brother-in-law's experience. So I thought I would share an experience that my ex-girlfriend's mom had. She is from New Jersey, and she lived in this house that basically was like a duplex over there. At the time, this was, I want to say, around the early 90s. She had a neighbor that was an elderly lady, just kind of kept to herself, but, was talkative with her and all. And, of course, as life happens, she passed away, and her family had gone and taken some of her stuff out. Some of the stuff they sold, some of the stuff they kept, a couple other things they just kind of left out on the curb to get thrown away. Well, one of the things that they had left on the curbside was a vacuum. Well, my ex's mom had seen it, thought, well, I mean, it's still a good vacuum. I mean, it looked a little used, but still in great condition. So she decided to go ahead and take it in and, clean it up, use it for herself. Well, that night she had woken up because she thought she had heard something, but she also felt like somebody was watching her. So she opens up her eyes, and lo and behold, there's that lady standing in the corner, actually standing kind of close by where the vacuum was in the room. Of course, she said it freaked her out because she knew, for one, she was wide awake and knew she was seeing this apparition. And two, the other thing that was a little disturbing was the fact that the lady was kind of staring at her in an angry way, kind of like, what are you doing with my vacuum? Needless to say, she told her husband, hey, you need to get this vacuum out of here. Of course, he was just like, I'll do it tomorrow morning. Lady, of course, was there for a few seconds, disappeared, and that's where she just kind of left it be and didn't even really get out of bed or anything, was just like, forget this, I'll just wait till the morning. So sure enough, next morning, husband got up, took the vacuum out, and instead of putting it in the corner or in the curb, she had him take it to the dump and get rid of it ultimately. So But yeah, that's my quick story, and I'll make sure to call back with some more interesting stories.
Thank you for calling and being a part of our show. That's our Voices from Beyond voicemail. You could be featured on an upcoming episode. 651-300-4977 is the phone number to call. That's 651-300-4977. We want you to share your stories with us right here on the program, and we'll keep sharing those every week. All you have to do is call in, leave your story on the voicemail. It records up to 3 minutes. If your story is longer than 3 minutes, call back, leave more of your story. Just do that until your entire story's out. Tim will then piece them all together for one big, cool, weird story. How about that? Sound like a plan? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Make it happen, my friends. All right. Where are we going next, sir?
We're going to, this is going to be an interesting pronunciation for this town. Cairnfarm? Yeah, sounds good. That's where we're going. A terrifying real-life claim, Dave, behind the ghost house of a picture that went viral. Residents who have lived in the Cairnfarm house insist that the property is definitely haunted. The resident of a ghost house where a spooky figure appears to have appeared in a bedroom insists that the property is definitely haunted. The ghostly image of what appears to be a girl or a woman looking out from the window behind a counselor posing for a picture in a Cairnfarm housing estate went viral earlier this month. Town councilor Jason Wayne Perry was pictured on the Peblig ward for a story about dog mess, which he shared on Facebook. But the responses he received were about the scary figure pictured behind them. Now, the current owner of the home has come forward to insist that the apparition is a sign of paranormal activity in the house, and they have been backed by past residents who told the North Wales Live have the house is definitely haunted. The current homeowner, who is asked to remain anonymous, said, "I've lived there for 7 years now, and I notice strange things as soon as we've moved in. When we first moved in, I saw a shadow which I thought was my husband at first, and that scared me." She added, "My 2-year-old, who is now 7, wouldn't sleep, and when I would try to calm them, they would point at the corner of the room and say, 'The lady, the lady.' Everyone can be asleep in bed, and we will hear footsteps on the stairs or banging on the wall. In the last few weeks, it has gotten definitely worse. Switches go off, things move around, banging on the wall, footsteps around the house. It's like they want me to know that they're there. I don't feel scared, but we want to know what has happened in this house to cause this. The house isn't very old. I think it was built in the 70s. And before that, apparently, it was a farm, but I can't find any record of that. It's just what people have said." Amanda Thompson, who lived in the same house several years ago, claimed to have had a similar paranormal experience. She said, "We lived there from 1990 to 2000, and my eldest daughter used to ask me who the lady was that used to sit on her bed at night. She was 3 when we moved there, and it started straight away. She was never bothered by it and continued to say it until we left. We never felt eerie there, though there was never any horrible feeling about the place," she went on to add. So there you go. And so with that, we'll go to our next caller. Again, you can reach our Voices from Beyond line. Just give us your own story. Do you have your own haunting? You can tell us by reaching us by our Voices from Beyond line, just like this caller did.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Tim. This is Jim from Springfield again. I wanted to call in and let you guys know that for the first time I actually experienced a lucid dream. It was a simple enough dream where I was walking around in an area I knew, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, and I remember saying to myself, hey, Jim, you're actually dreaming. You can do anything you want right now, so do it before you wake up. So in that instance, I looked around and saw a pair of heavy doors that all of a sudden with my mind I started to open and close, almost like I guess using the Force from Star Wars. And I did that a few times where it opened and closed, and then the dream ended and I woke up. But I remember the sensation of how cool it was to know that I was actually self-aware. And like I said, that was the first time I had ever done that. In other dreams, I've shared with you guys about having visitations from deceased relatives or other dreams like that. Anyways, just wanted to share that with you. Love you guys. Love the show. Keep it up. Thanks.
Oh, Tim, the leaves are turning brown. There's a crispness in the air. You can see hot chicks in yoga pants and pumpkin spice lattes. You know what time of year it is, Tim?
It's fall, Dave.
No, Tim. It's football season.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Are you ready for some football?
Boy, am I
sure
ever.
as hell am.
Yeah.
Now, we've got something really cool going on for our listeners that are like Tim and I. If you're football fans, we've got something really exciting that's taking place. We're working with betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. All right. First of all, go sign up. Use podcast1, PODCAST, and the number 1. You're going to receive a 50% sign up bonus today. Then play along with us as we make our bets every week. We're going to be picking our top 5 picks of the week every week on this show through football season. And here's something cool. We're against many other shows on the podcast network, including some sports shows, Tim, who I think might be a little big for their britches.
Maybe.
They might need a little reminder that we've got supernatural powers and abilities.
Well, there's that.
And
yeah.
we're gonna pick some winners. So here's the deal. If we pick winners and our team, you and I, we pick 5 winners, and if we get the most winners every week, Tim, our listeners can win if they're also part of this program. Here's how you do it. You go sign up for it, right? And then our picks this week will go next week. If we're the big winner for Podcast 1, we get to assign 5 of our listeners $100 that will be deposited directly into their BetOnline AG accounts.
Nice.
How cool is that?
That's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the game that keeps on giving, and we've got some really cool picks. Now, this is, they asked us for the first week, what are the picks? Well, Bears over Green Bay. We know how that turned out. But here are the picks for this Sunday. This is what Tim and I, the brain trust that is Beyond the Darkness Radio. Mm-hmm. We've got the Vikings over the Falcons.
Of course.
We've got the Chiefs over the Jags.
Duh.
Are you ready for the Eagles to decimate the Redskins?
Why not?
And I'm going to go a little random here, Tim. We're going to take the Browns over the Titans. That's right. When's the last time publicly you heard anybody pick the Browns to do anything, Tim?
Well, it's been a while, Dave, but we've got confidence, and here's why. You've got your Baker Mayfield over there. You've got the kid from New York who's come over, that guy. This is why you should have confidence in us. We can't name half the Browns, but we just know they're going to be a good team.
We know they're going to be a good team.
Yeah.
That's the important thing here.
Right.
And for the goofballs that are actually choosing Atlanta to win, this one goofball, Tim.
Who's that?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, I think, may have taken one too many steel chairs to the head.
Drunk on his own Steve Weisers, Dave.
Yes. Tim, can you believe that he actually picked the Bills over the Jets?
No, come on.
Le'Veon Bell, now part of the Jets. Steve Austin takes the Bills. And then, Tim, flying in the face of all logic, he chooses the Falcons over the Minnesota Vikings. I thought you had respect for this guy, Tim.
I used to, but Steve, here's the deal. Earth the Broken Skull Ranch. Steve, here's the
broadcast signal.
Here's a little tip for you, son.
Oh, dude, pulling out the imitation as you confront him. I like this.
I am. I'm doing it. Here's a little tip for you, son. The Vikings are at home. And we don't lose too often here at the they like to call it the bank. I like to call it the big broken ship in the middle of downtown Minneapolis. It looks like a broken down little pole barn there in the middle of downtown.
Don't say broken down when you're trying to trash talk about us winning. Tim. That's the
Dave,
opposite of positive.
the siding came off of it the first year it was up. So I don't. It's a broken down pole barn in the middle of Minneapolis. But here's the deal, Steve. And let me tell you this. Oh hell yeah! It looks like the Vikings got themselves a little win in the middle of downtown. And if you don't believe that, I got something to tell you. That's the bottom line, Steve, because Timmy D said so.
Wow. Can you smell what the D is cooking?
What?
Is that somebody else's line?
No, that's a different line, and that did not sound right. I
guess
yeah.
not. No. Well, and here's one more. The good team at the Dogma debate also foolish enough to choose the Falcons over the Vikings.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
That'll come back to bite you.
Yeah. I don't think so. Let me just go. And also Dogma debate. Come on, the Patriots. Are you just going for easy picks here?
I guess.
Why don't you challenge yourself, kids?
Yeah.
Why don't you reach out a little deeper? Oh, we're going to take the Patriots and the Cowboys, the Rams, Falcons, and Bears. How about you dig deep? The Browns. That's who you need to pick. You need to pick a team like the Browns, Tim.
Right.
Yeah, but that's okay, cute. It's cute, Dogma debate.
That is.
Thanks for playing along anyway. Really. So, folks, here's your deal. Here's your call to arms. Be a part of a war. Be a part of a change, Tim, with your buddies right here on Beyond the Darkness. Go sign up on betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. Use your promo code podcast1, that's PODCAST, and the number 1. You're going to receive a 50% sign-up bonus today. And we're going to need your help throughout the season, because if for some reason the tag team duo, the dynamic duo of darkness were to fall one week, or 2 or 3 or 4, we might need some input to get us back on top, because we can't have the likes of Pretty Boy Corolla.
No.
Or what'd you call him? The skull crack Austin. What was that term used on him earlier?
Broken skull.
Broken
Steve.
Skull Steve Austin.
Yep.
We can't allow their to take over this challenge, folks. So here's what you do. Go sign up. 50% sign-up bonus for you today at betonline.ag. Use promo code podcast1. Play along with your football experts, Dave and Tim from Beyond the Darkness. And remember, every week that we win and beat the rest of these naysayers, here's something exciting just for you, our listening audience. Well, it's not true. All of them get to play the same game, but we'll be doling out more money this season, Tim. That's my prediction.
Right on.
Every week, if we're the big winner, we get 5 of our listeners that are already signed up with betonline.ag is going to get $100 put into their account. And we'll tell you how you can do that. Keep listening to the show. Keep playing along with us. Here are your games for this week. Bears over Green Bay, Vikings over Falcons, Chiefs over the Jags, Eagles over Redskins, Browns over Titans. You can take that to the bank, Stone Cold, and take it with your little Dogma buddies while you're licking your wounds. What wounds, Tim?
Wounds?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're counting money, and they're just counting lashings, Tim. That's what we can talk about. So go check it out for yourself. BetOnline.ag. Use podcast1 to receive that 50% off sign-up bonus. Play along with your buddies right here on Beyond the Darkness. 60 seconds. That's exactly how long this commercial lasts. You know what else you can do in about a minute? You can get an offer for your car with TrueCar. That's right. In the amount of time it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, do a few sit-ups, or just listen to my voice, you can get a True Cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or home. Just go to TrueCar and simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions and you'll get an accurate True Cash offer from a local TrueCar certified dealer. It's just that easy. After that, you can bring your car in. They'll check it out with you together. You can ask questions. You can get the answers that you want and need, so there's never any surprises. Then you just simply leave with your check or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today.
And now for our final story, which let's just say is bizarre, but I like it. I like it a lot, Dave. Maybe I like it a little too much. Okay, so we've been talking about the Storm Area 51 thing, and, you know, at first it started off as this nice little storming Area 51 and actually trying to get into Area 51. Then it was going to be like a music festival, and now we don't quite know what it is, but Alice Little definitely knows what it is, and I think I like it a lot. You know, there was a little rumor that we were going to have, let's just say we were going to have dancers out there, or ladies that were going to work their way through college over at the Storm Area 51 thing. Well, it turns out that sex worker Alice Little is going to be offering Storm Area 51 attendees 50% off discount close encounters. And I use that in quotes.
Discount Close Encounter.
Discount Close Encounters, Dave.
Oh, welcome to America.
Yes, and I think I like this a little too much. I'm just going to say, Storm Area 51 has never become a more pleasurable event ever, Dave. Now, I will add this little side note that we've had a couple of people now. You know, we had our own little Storm Area 51 event that we were wanting to set up, that restaurant over in Wisconsin.
Yeah, turns out they closed.
Yeah, it turns out they closed. We should mention that here on air so we don't get even more people mentioning this to us. It doesn't matter. I mean, we can still storm the restaurant, can't we?
Yeah, it just wouldn't. The food wouldn't be as good,
right? We can bring sandwiches. Not open, yeah. So
we
can bring our own sandwiches.
You could make your own sandwiches for everybody. I'm not good at it. Maybe just give Tim a call to place your order in advance at 612.
Dave, we can have them call the Voices from Beyond line. They can leave their order there. And
no, we want to keep that clear for people's important stories of supernatural experiences. So just call Tim directly at 612.
Dave, I'll take the orders by email. Just email me at tim@darknessradio.com. So I have them right there. They're written out. There's no mistake as to what the order is for sandwiches. So I can I have it right there.
God.
And then I'll remember it.
All right. So this sex worker is offering 50% off of quote-unquote close encounters. Right. She does role play.
Right. Is that what it is? Well, don't spoil the surprise here,
guessing.
Man.
I don't know. I was guessing.
Well, okay. So she's offering attendees of the viral Storm Area 51 event a 50% off discount off of, oh boy, Dave, this is really specific role play. Alien abduction role play and other close encounters. And you know what? She's a little on the cute side. I'm not going to lie.
A little on the cute side.
A little on the cute side. She kind of has that. She kind of looks like she might have worked on the X-Files at one time. Just saying. A popular sex worker is offering UFO enthusiasts attending the viral Storm Area 51 event later this month an Area 69 experience, Dave.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, baby.
Step up. Yeah. Two can chew.
Mm-hmm. With a 50% discount off alien abduction roleplay and other close encounters. I can't say it enough. Alice Little from Nevada's Moonlight Bunny Ranch, so you know she's a pro, brings in more than $1 million a year. Oh, my God, I love her. I'm going to propose. As the highest grossing licensed prostitute in the state. Dave, this woman brings in more than $1 million a year doing this stuff. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And you're getting half off?
You're getting half off.
Sounds like a deal to me.
Do you get to pick the half?
Wow. See, I don't need to. I've got a beautiful wife at home that's, willing to wear the Princess Leia garb or let me wear it, whatever. Sure. So I don't need to.
We don't judge.
Extra.
We don't judge. Sure.
But you, Tim.
Yeah. Well.
This would be good for you.
Yeah.
You were just telling me you were up for a good probing and abduction.
Well, if it's coming from her, normally I would, reserve that for special occasions, but in this case, she says, okay, so I lost my way.
Wow, you are flustered.
I'm tuned up here. Alice also, yes, Moonlight Bunny Ranch is also the home to the once top. Nevada is also home to the.
Breath with me.
Okay, let me
back into it.
Let me center myself. Home to the once top secret U.S. Air Force testing area, famously believed to be by conspiracy theorists hide alien life. Who cares about that shit? Which started as a joke on Facebook, quickly got out of hand with more than 2 million people responding to an event called Storm Area 51. I'm glad they got out of hand with this because it brought us her. They Can't Stop Us, All of Us was the subtitle, by the way. I like the fact that Facebook events come up with subtitles. Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us, to which I laugh. You've never heard of a nuclear weapon. Urging people to Naruto run past security to see them aliens at the highly guarded base 134 kilometers northwest of Las Vegas near the tiny town of Rachel. There has been a resurgence in the interest of the UFO topic since December of 2017, when the New York Times and Politico revealed the existence of the Pentagon's secretive Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. June appearance in the popular Joe Rogan Experience podcast by Bob Lazar. Oh, we had our little talk about Joe Rogan a few weeks ago.
Oh, good God.
Who claimed to have...
bench. Leave him alone. He can't take any more abuse from you.
I'm leaving him alone. Who claimed to have worked on reverse engineering alien craft near Area 51. Bob Lazar, that is. Not Joe Rogan. He doesn't have the brains for that. So Bob Lazar, yes, claimed to have worked on reverse engineering alien craft near Area 51 in the late 1980s. Inspired university student Maddie Roberts to create the Facebook page. Local authorities last month said they were taking the event very seriously, with as many as 40,000 people expected to show up to the remote desert location on September 20th. We're not too far away from that now, folks, from what has been rebranded as a 3-day alien-themed festival dubbed Alien Stock. Oh, my goodness. I just saw a picture of our administrator here in her undergarments. Ever since Alien Stock was announced, my email has been blowing up with questions from lascivious alien enthusiasts asking about how they can meet with me while they're in Nevada, Ms. Little said in a press release. Oh, my. Ms. Little, who describes herself as a staunch believer in alien life, said Rachel was located in Lincoln County. I'll be sure to look that up on a map. One of the few counties in Nevada where prostitution is still illegal. Why would that be? In order to provide my fellow ET lovers with the full gamut of Nevada freakiness, the name of my new album, I'm turning my suite at the Bunny Ranch into Area 69 during the weekend of the event and offering the discount as a way to celebrate with all the true believers out there, she said. God bless you for doing the Lord's work. The Moonlight Bunny Ranch is located in Lyon County, where prostitution is legal in the form of regulated brothels. Ms. Little said that she had experience with alien-themed sex role play parties. There's such a thing.
Surprised we haven't heard about it till now.
My God, we need to hire her out for some conventions. I have several clients that enjoy alien abduction role play and all of the titillating probing that goes along with it. I can't keep a straight face during this article. And I already have a couple of these sessions booked during the festival. So somebody's already jumped on this deal, so to speak.
Right.
But she added...
numerous times at $1 million a year.
I guess. But she added that she wanted people to know that it's not my intention to make light of people that claim to have had encounters with extraterrestrials. Oh, so she's really going to give it to the ones who have had the experience before, I guess. Living in Nevada, I have spoken with and serviced many men, women, and couples that claim to have had alien encounters, she went on to say. After knowing so many people with such conviction regarding their experiences, I'm convinced aliens exist and may have visited our planet. I hope that one day I'll personally be able to meet an ET face-to-face. Who knows, maybe I'll have my chance during the weekend of Alien Stock, Ms. Little went on to say. She also added, whether or not the alien show, I believe that Alien Stock will be a historic event. I'm proud to be a Nevadan, and I'm glad to play my part in offering the full range of Nevada entertainment experiences to visitors coming out for the event. Well, Miss Little, God bless you and your little two-piece you're wearing there in that picture I'm looking at. And that's the rest of the story.
Okay. Hi, Dave and Tim. I have some strange things I can share with you. When I was born with a twin brother. My brother died just a few hours after our birth. During the time of our birth, the hospital went through a big archive change, so a lot of the death certificates got lost or got the wrong information on them. My parents always thought that my brother was buried in the same town as we were born in, which is Karlskrona? Karlskrona? I can't read for sure. But they never were able to get any correct answers on where he was buried. It was a minor scandal for the hospital back in the 70s. But one night, 11 years later, my mother was in the kitchen and getting a drink of water. Over the sink, we had a window from where you could see the forest behind our house. She looked out on the lawn and saw a small child pointing in a particular direction. She saw the child for several minutes before it started to move in the same direction. The following morning, she told my dad, and he told her that this child must have been meant the cemetery that we have just a few hundred meters away. They contacted the church and got a hold of someone that could help them with the archives. After a lot of digging and research, they found that my brother was buried in that cemetery. The town is called Asuram and is located about 6 miles from the town where they told us he was buried. My mother is convinced that it was my brother that was showing her where he was buried. Both my mother and grandmother are sensitive when it comes to the paranormal. My grandmother was really sensitive and thinking my grandma was very sensitive, and she said to me as a child and as a teen, I now believe she was something special. I got more paranormal stories to share in the future. Thanks for the awesome show. Sincerely, David. Please excuse my spelling in English. I am from Sweden. That's why I was stumbling a little bit. Thank you, David. That's a great story, and I'm glad we finally got to the story from August 30th, 2016. But we got to it, Tim.
Yep.
That's the important part. We've got a lot of other emails that we'll be reading out over the next couple of weeks as well, so make sure you keep tuning in for that. We got our calls in?
Yep.
Any other calls left?
I don't believe so.
That's it. We're done with stories. We're done with your calls. We're done with the emails. We hope that you've enjoyed the program as much as us. We'll be back again tomorrow with more of the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness.